All right, so today we have Olivia Pearl on the No Offense podcast. We're going to get to know her today. For those of you guys who are not familiar with Miss Pearl, she is actually the June 2022 cover model for the No Offense magazine, as well as also a very notable person to get to know, which you'll find out today for the interview. So first and foremost, thank you for allowing us to have you today, Miss Pearl.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. It is definitely an honor to be the June 2020 cover model. I absolutely, and beyond words, appreciate the opportunity.
Hey, we're just excited that you said yes, because man, listen, uh, your reputation precedes you. So
Well,
it
thank you.
no
It's what I'm
problem.
going for.
Yes, ma'am. House of Pearl. We're gonna get to know all about you today as efficiently as possible, because I do understand you're a very busy woman, and I don't want to waste any of your time. I see that. I like that. You got to show me how to see me. It don't look as good when I gotta. Oh, almost fell. Okay,
Uh-oh.
I ain't gonna do it.
Yeah,
I ain't
no,
gonna do it.
you're in there.
Yeah, I ain't gonna do it like
But all
that.
we gotta do is stand in front of it anyway.
Gotcha. So, I always like to start at the beginning. Try to get to know you from a child, if that's okay. Where did you grow up? Where were you born and raised?
I am a West Michigander, and I do have to throw the West in there because it's funny. Michigan isn't known for anything other than Detroit. So if you say Michigan, everybody's just like, oh, Detroit. And it's like, no, other side of the state.
Now, Michigan has a rich history, obviously. So does Detroit. But you got Saginaw. You got all kind. I've never been up that way personally. I'm from the. For one, y'all get snow up there, and anywhere there's snow, you ain't gonna catch me. You ain't gonna catch
Yeah,
me. Uh,
understandable. I'm over it myself.
but how would you describe the childhood growing up there? I mean, did you go to school up there as well, or was it
Yeah,
just
born and raised. I actually just moved out of state about a year ago for the first time. So born and raised. I actually grew up very rurally. I grew up on a 700-acre farm. I grew up, with antennas and well water. So very humbly, you could say, very girl next door like. Um, Taught how to cook and clean and drive and ride tractors and shuck corn and mow grass and do chores and bake pies and all that good stuff. So, I mean, very Midwestern. I think most people probably don't really expect that, just kind of looking at me or meeting
I
me.
I'm so
Um,
sorry about that.
you're good, you're good. So I
I had
don't
an
think that a lot
alarm
of
go
people
off to
really
make sure that
expect that when they
there wasn't
meet me
any
or look
traffic.
at me or see me for the first time. Um, and even, I most time I have to get to know somebody well enough to let them know that kind of stuff. But, otherwise, nobody really expects that. But yeah, I'm farm girl, girl next door, country girl.
So how was living with the different animals and things like that? Where you actually had animals on the farm and things like that?
Yeah, we had, well, by the time I came around, we just had beef cows. Um, this was my grandfather's farm, so he had accumulated the compound over his lifetime, and really the whole family kind of like lives um, either adjacent or on the property somewhere. So very family environment. Yeah, cows, corn, beans. I was young, I was a girl, I didn't really do like a lot of farming as much as like my grandpa, my uncles, or my cousins, my male cousins did. But I was definitely still exposed. One of my first jobs, my grandpa always um, planted a big patch of corn for us, and me and my cousins would go sell it, and my grandma go sell it like in the summer, and we'd fill up the back of the truck and go park somewhere and sell corn for the summer, and that was our job. He always did that for us. So um kind of more, Michigan's very agricultural, so I mean, I wasn't out there getting down and dirty with the cows too much, but I mean, I know like when my mom was coming up, they had chickens and well, we had horses too. um dogs, cats, birds, rabbits, you name it. We
Hey
were
man,
out there collecting stuff, making pets.
it definitely sounds like the time of life for sure. Now because you did live on, you guys had the fresh milk, the like you were.
No,
I
we weren't
imagine
doing
no.
no, we weren't doing all that. We always had like a freezer full of beef and venison. I'll give you that one. But I mean, no, we were making stuff from scratch, pies and canning stuff, but I mean, we weren't out there churning butter or nothing.
No, I was just gonna ask because I always hear the food tastes so much different, like from when you can, you're closer to the actual source of where it comes from versus like when we
Right.
get it and processed. Yeah, I was just
Yeah,
curious
well, and
about that.
some of my friends, like I said, I mean, even like school is a very rural school. So a lot of my friends came from farms, and yeah, maybe, they had goats or, chickens and did their eggs and did their goat milk and but we didn't have dairy cows. So we had beef cows. So two different kinds
Gotcha.
of cows.
You know what? I just learned something. You learn something new every day. In
Yeah.
my whole life, I thought it was the same damn cow. I was
Nope.
like,
So
damn,
the
why didn't
white
the
and brown cows are dairy cows, and the black or brown cows are beef cows.
See, I got cows like not too far from me. I'm gonna have to go check and look and see what kind of cows we got. We in
Yeah.
Texas. They're beef cows. Might have to figure out who making steak. But anyway, anyway, so as far as schooling, you know what I'm saying? Like you said, you were in a very rural area. Were you doing the rural schooling like from, was it actually elementary to middle to all the way through high school, or did you kind of like move toward the city at some point and it was different interaction, or how was it set up?
Opposite. I started in the city, well, the city in town. Again, I'm not from like a major metropolitan area, so just like town, but just kind of typical, whatever kind of um middle of the road kind of situation. But my grandparents, like I said, it was their farm. So when I was about 8, we moved back to the farm when my mom had my brother and got married, and we moved all back to the farm and all that stuff. So at that point, I before that I was in a private Christian school actually. And then when we moved out there, like around junior high, I went to the local public school, which again, very rural, graduating class of 55, only melanated person in the district, you know. But I mean, it was cool. It was kind of a little bit of an adjustment. It wasn't my choice, but that was a long time ago, and it was just school at this point. So I mean, it worked out. It wasn't anything terrible. And I made some good friends, and there's good people. And, like I said, learned a lot of good skills. That, I mean, I guess kind of with this push to live in big cities and big areas, I don't think a lot of people really get that, anymore. Like, I can change a tire, change oil, change brakes, I can drywall, I can plaster, I can milk cows, I can go get the eggs from the chickens and mow the yard, and people don't really do that kind of stuff nowadays. So
We might have to hit the instant replay on that whole list right there because yeah, that was rare. That was definitely rare. But anyway, how did you? So from the city to the rural part, obviously because you do more of the city now. Like, did you have because you got a chance to experience both? Which one do you think might have been more your take?
I do both actually. My preference is kind of like to be in an area where there are things and there's options and there's stuff to do. Like a metropolitan area, but also to be far enough away from that if I don't want to be found, and I want peace and quiet, and to just be myself and not have to hear the neighbors or whatever. Like that's my preference. If I'm gonna post up, I'm kind of posting up in the cut, but I wanna be able to hop, skip, and jump to wherever I want to go.
I understand. How did you get started with modeling?
Actually, I have been modeling the majority of my life. Growing up, my mom's best friend was a photographer. She did a lot of family and wedding kind of stuff. So just kind of for fun, and I guess because she saw potential even at that age, she really just loved using me as kind of her personal little model. And I remember we used to do photo shoots all the time. I actually still have um, a lot of pictures. Actually, I have to go dig some up. I know my mom has them. I don't have them with me, but a lot of pictures from being a kid, being 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, the whole way through, and we would go around town or be out on the farm taking pictures. But otherwise, kind of like, I guess a little more seriously, um, into adulthood, my cousin kind of slash best friend, her name is Debbie Hendricks with Hendricks Photography. Um, Rest in peace, my love. Very
So,
good, very close, best friend, cousin, love her to death. Unfortunately, she passed away a few years ago, but her and I were really big into using each other, to bounce off of me, the model, her, the photographer. And we had actually, right before she died, kind of made plans and got the ball rolling on starting kind of our own photography modeling agency business type thing. And unfortunately, like I said, that kind of fell through, but I feel I've kind of tried to live on with that. At least I know she would be proud of the things that I've moved on and done so far and since then.
well, we definitely are, sorry to hear for your loss. But we are, you know, we, I definitely commend you for, not dropping the ball and making sure that that vision that you guys had pushes to move forward. And you're doing phenomenal at it. The House of Pearl brand is definitely one that once you hear about it, you don't forget. What if you can tell me, walk me through, how that actually came to be. Like, what I'm saying? I know a lot. I know to some people it's like they think that a business just jumps out of nowhere and they don't actually understand the everything that goes into getting it up and and running and notoriety and things like that. But as far as once you decided to go ahead and push forward, how did you proceed?
Well, the boutique actually kind of started, I guess, kind of like just a little maybe whisper in the back of my head, previous to COVID. Um, I'm very kind of business oriented. I also like to be working on projects and have different things in the work. So I was kind of feeling like at the time I was kind of ready to take on something new. And then COVID hit, and everything shut down, the club shut down, travel shut down, all the states and all that. So I laid low for, I don't know, maybe about a month, month and a half. And then I started getting kind of bored and antsy. And I was like, all right, well, what can I do? What can I do? What should I do? I want to do something. Yeah. And so I just kind of like started kind of poking my nose around and, kind of boutique thing is like a thing. Um, and I don't really like to do things fashionably. I don't necessarily like to do things just because that's what's hot to do or that's what everybody's doing or that's what the new hot thing is. Um, so at the same time, I kind of wanted to stay in my lane with it.
Right.
So just being an entertainer, I just figured, getting into a boutique of some exotic type would be my lane. Um, and hopefully I could kind of bring my own style and twist to it, in a way that was different from what I was seeing. And again, being from Michigan, um, very agricultural manufacturing, we don't have a lot of options when it comes to a lot of other things. So, as I move around and go to bigger places in different states, I get to dibble dabble in what the style is there, the culture is there, or, what the market is there, or, um, so I just kind of figured that being in this lane, it would be something that um, I could grow very organically and not necessarily have to, you know, bust my ass to push marketing or to push or to, get it in front of people or to have a storefront or to, I could kind of just get it in place make it what it could be, and just kind of start taking it with me when I go, and it be part of my brand, and in that way kind of grow organically and do its thing, and I wouldn't have to really like do anything super duper extra. So that's really where we're at with it. It's been, I don't know, about a year and a half, I guess now. And it's growing, it's doing its thing. I'm growing, I'm doing my thing. Like I still have a lot of plans for it. And I can't necessarily tell you which avenue is going to come first or second or third or at all, or but I mean, like I said, that's cool. It was really just kind of like I needed to do something and be productive, and kind of put some things, more things in place for the future, and be financially responsible in that aspect, and so on and so forth. So um I'm very happy with a lot of the vendors and the things that I found. I'm still kind of trying to figure out um how I can economically and efficiently take it with me like I want to, or again, kind of like what avenue is going to be the path of least resistance and the most effective.
The path of least resistance. I mean, it definitely sounds like you're in it for the fight. Yeah. So we love the
I like
fact
to
that
work smart and not hard if possible.
no, definitely. I understand. I love the fact that you're willing to roll with the punches and see where it goes, but not boxing yourself in. You do sound like you have a general idea. You have a goal in mind, but it sounds like you're open to the ideas of how to get there. And I feel like that's the best way, because when we get closed minded, it kind of limits us. It kind of closes some doors a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So as far as through all the places that you have traveled, is there any favorites as far as that? Because no place is the same, but they're all kind of the same, but they're not. You know what I'm saying? So is and I know a lot of times we say there's no place like home, but you have had time to travel in different places. Were there any favorite spots or any memorable places that really inspired you, that kind of helped influence your outlooks and perspectives today?
Um, it's kind of funny. I didn't really get to travel a lot when I was a kid, so as an adult, um, it's really kind of been it's been like a bullet point for me. It's really like it wasn't like a goal, or like it was like, this has to happen. This is just the way my life is going to be. So I'm very blessed and lucky in that aspect, and I like to say that I get to work uh in places that most people just get to vacation. Um, and I mean, I guess depending on your perspective, but I take that over sitting in an office any day. Um, so I mean, in my soul, I'm a sun girl. I love sun. I love the heat. I like the beaches. I like the water. I like the cruises. At this point, I'd love to really like just start getting out of the country. Like that's my next goal, is to really start um, venturing out. And I've been a few places. Cabo was beautiful. The water in Cabo is some of the just beautifulest, clearest, amazingest I've ever seen. Um, even just the landscape, the culture. I feel like at this point I've really done a lot of traveling, either for, like Chicago's one of my favorite places to dance. When I was younger and first started traveling, I Chicago was close, and I didn't really do the Detroit thing. So the Admiral in Chicago was just the club that I found, and I loved it. And I'll say that that's one of, even to this day, one of the best clubs I've ever worked at. So if you ever get a chance to go to the Admiral Theater in Chicago, Illinois, that is my absolute recommendation for clubs. Um, Kind of by happenstance and by, association, I've spent a lot of time in Florida.
Mhm.
My best friend used to live in Florida for about 10 years. So I traveled to her house a lot. Really, even when I was just like a house dancer, just as personal, just spending time with her and doing kind of the Orlando thing and whatnot. And then as I've gotten deeper into this, like my IBMS people were out of West Palm Beach for a long time. Um, and now I'm in Tampa. So um, just the sun and the atmosphere of Florida, um, aside from it being so super ass dangerous, like, you got to watch out for the snakes and the pythons and the alligators and the friggin' mosquitoes and the
Says the farm girl. I'm from Florida. I gotta
yeah,
defend somebody, gotta defend this.
nothing's really getting ready to kill you. You got pumas and panthers and bears and like, it's like you gotta watch every step you take around here. You got fire ants. You can't even sit your ass on the like I gotta go just to ground and meditate. I can't even just go sit under a tree around here. So I'll say that's a big downside, but otherwise I love Florida. I love the atmosphere. I love that there's so much going on, that there's so much culture. Um, and not even just culture when it comes to like black, white, Latina. You have industrial culture, you have the fashion culture, you have the music culture, you have the club culture, you have the boating and the pirate culture. Like there's so much everywhere you look. But my next goal really is to really start getting out of the country, like far out of the country. I've done Canada, I've done Mexico. Like I want to go to Dubai, I want to go to Europe, I want to go to England, I want to go to Paris, I want to go to Japan, I want to go to Thailand. Like I want to go some kick-ass places.
It's international. Yes, ma'am. I see it close to your future, for sure. The thing, uh, in about 100 years' time, when they speak about Olivia Pearl, what would you like the legacy to be?
Ooh, that's deep. All right. Um, I guess something Marilyn Monroe-ish. I mean, and that's intense. I mean, even the only person I mean, that's like Michael Jackson,
Yes, ma'am.
Kardashian kind of level, and I don't necessarily, you know, I'm I'll die happy if I don't by any means get there, but I want to be, I just want to be, I just want to be. Like
Right.
I don't even have to be whatever I be to somebody or to the situation is what I be. Again, because what I bring to the table is what I bring to the table, but how somebody else picks it up is up to what they're capable of picking up. So, again, I'm happy that my reputation precedes me. Because that's not the first time that that's been said to me, and that my reputation has obviously preceded me, and I don't think of myself, especially at this point, to be that type of person. But I mean, it is very honoring and humbling to know that that's how other people think of me in certain instances. So, just to be successful and just, my kind of goal is for everything that I touch to turn to gold. So, I mean, it might be my gold or your gold or whoever's gold, but again, as long as I come with that positivity and that successfulness and that mindset, like that's what I'm happy with.
And I definitely, it's funny that you speak of gold because as I look at your logo behind you, you have the black, which is that color of power, and then you have that gold, which shines so nicely against it. And to hear you speak about, that you like we said before, your reputation does precede you, and whether you know it or not, people are watching you. Like your name, you're definitely making an impact. You know what I'm saying? A good one, definitely. You know what I'm saying? So, I think you're well on your way, to being that notable figure that we'll speak of in 100 years. As we go through life, we all grow, and sometimes we find ourselves reflecting on who we were and who we are now becoming. In today's, if you could, for reflection, what would you tell the Olivia Pearl 10 years ago from who you are today?
Uh,
Are we gonna come with it? It's a no
so
offense
10
interview.
years ago. Okay, so
Yeah.
let me remember where I was at 10 years ago. Um, 10 years ago, I would tell me to listen to myself. Um, I would tell me to not let anybody else directly influence what I felt or what I knew needed to be done. Yeah, and well, and I mean, it's kind of like that was actually really like about the time that I kind of like really realized a lot of these things to a point that it was like, okay, let's make that change. Um, but yeah, I mean, kind of like that's like, and I mean, I would tell anybody, especially like, I was again kind of very blessed to always have grown up around older people. Whether it was my uncles or some of the people that my mom worked with growing up, or even later on in life, some of the people I worked with growing up. I'm sorry, worked with after I grew up. Um, so I kind of learned from a young age to listen to older people and more experienced people, people who have already been through things. And even whether they were trying to tell me something directly or indirectly. But I will say that there was kind of a period, maybe from like 20 to 25, where, you're getting out there and you're learning for
Find yourself.
yourself. And, so in the back of my mind, I could reference these situations, and hopefully I made some better decisions because of it. But, I would really just kind of tell myself, like, don't doubt yourself. Don't underestimate yourself. Like, what it is that you think is right for you, like, that's what's right for you. Like, and you can ask other people's advice and opinions, and, how they would deal with it or how they dealt with it. Um, and take that kind of stuff into consideration when making your decisions, but always make a decision that is best for you.
Nice. Now somewhere, there's as a kid, what I'm saying, we do look to up to other people to try to figure out where we stand in the world or where we should be and what we like and what we don't like. Somewhere, there may be a little girl who wants to be like Olivia Pearl. What are some of those things that you might tell her as growing up or advise her? And it doesn't necessarily have to be like life lessons, but just as far as like how to structure to maybe get to the status that you at, or things you might have had to learn the hard way, or things like that. Just if you could talk to them.
Um, I mean, I guess kind of just like really along the same lines. Like, I've learned most of the things that I've learned, either because I was studious enough. Actually, that never stop learning. Like, never stop learning. Like, I have, between me and my daughter, I think if I had to estimate, I have 300 books in my house. Um, I have a smartphone in my hand at all times, and it's smart as shit. Like, sometimes it's stupid, like, like I can ask Alexa something and she'll give me a really stupid ass answer. But, at the end of the day, learn it for yourself, find out for yourself. Like, this is 2022. There's nothing from how to cook to astrophysics that you can't teach yourself. So to me, like, there is really no excuse. If you have an idea, if you have the motivation, if you have the gumption to do something and be somebody, there's no excuse for why you can't really be that person. Whether it's teaching yourself how to be that person or how to get there, or being able to recognize opportunities and people that you should and shouldn't have around you, or knowing when it's time to level up, knowing when it's time to move on, knowing when it's time to let things go. Um, And I think that a lot of that, I mean, a lot of for me is it's really just been always wanting to learn something new and always wanting to move to the next step and to the next level. Um, so, I mean, just don't stop learning, don't stop doing stuff, don't take your hand out of the cookie jar. Like, just stay in it, stay moving, stay motivated, and do what you need to do to make good decisions.
Okay, okay. I've got a couple more questions for you, and I try to make this. I love you. I'm loving your answers, by the way. Not that I. One thing about me, and people say this all the time, and I hope that you guys know if you're watching this that I do what's best for you at all times. Like, don't worry about how I think about your answer. Anyway, I don't give a shit. I'm loving your answers because I can tell they come from a place of honesty, and I appreciate that. You know, so here are some other things that I'd like to ask. As a woman who has so much to bring something to the table, who have, I'm not knocking anybody, but obviously you're a very beautiful girl. Um, what are some of the challenges that you face, trying to get people to actually take your intellectual serious when you're so attractive? I know that has to be something that you run into. How do you deal with it? And how does it make you feel as you deal with it?
Um, it definitely is a thing. Um, I think it's actually at this point in my life, it's funny. It's funny to me. Maybe when I was younger, a little less confident or insecure or quick to jump to conclusions or emotions. And I don't really necessarily remember a lot of the situation. So I mean, maybe I've always kind of like been kind of cool about it, but I think it's funny. I think it's funny to be underestimated because the reaction that I get from somebody when they realize that they have grossly underestimated this, it's just funny to me, because that is the stereotype. People think because I'm pretty, because my tits are sticking out, because I get naked in public, or just because I'm a dancer, just for whatever like reason other than I've opened my mouth and said something. It was kind of funny. I was on and I won't name any names, but I was on another podcast not long ago, and one of the other guests, who we will say is a professional, um, I have to assume, I walked in the room and everybody was like, Olivia, and he had no idea. Everybody else knew who I was, knew I was coming, but this guy had no idea, right? Uh, so after the interview, and he was the main guest, but I kind of was there and spoke and so on and so forth, and so I mean, after the interview, one of the first things he said to me was, "So why do you dance?" And I mean, those might not have been his exact words, but the way I took it was, "Well, you're really pretty. You should do something else."
Right.
And so then it was, but he also threw in there that like it was also because you're really smart, like, and that he was really really surprised that I was so smart. And I'm first, now I'm like, I'm too smart to be, and it's funny to me because it was like, well, first of all, if it was you, I'm pretty sure. Second of all, try not to make too many assumptions, just because like it's really it's again, this is 2022 and things are not just always the way that people have been, programmed or taught or told throughout their life that things are. And sometimes they absolutely are, but I mean, to me, I know too many people, especially at this point, and maybe that's where I come from. These ladies are professionals, like my feature entertainer friends, a lot of even my house dancer friend, like, we take this seriously. Like, we train for this, we keep our bodies in shape for this. I mean, we hurt ourselves over this, so it's not that something has to take a lot of brain power or a lot of physical power, to be legitimate. Um, so it doesn't usually take long for somebody to kind of remove me from that stereotype. But in the back of my mind, I know that, you've put me in that box, you're going to put a lot of other people in that box. And it's not fair. And to me, not everybody else can handle that the same way. Like I said, I think it's funny just because I'm comfortable with myself. I don't really care if somebody thinks that I'm this, that, or the other thing because I do this, that, or the other thing. That's not my problem. It doesn't hurt my feelings. It doesn't keep me awake at night. Like, none of that. So it's funny to me that, you know, and it shows me kind of psychologically about people and how they kind of think. Especially are they quick to change their mind, or do they have to really like be persuaded to change their mind, or can you tell they've changed their mind but they don't want to say it? So, and I mean, maybe that's me. I do have a degree in psychology, so it might just be the way I like to analyze people. But um, I mean, it happens. It happens all the time, and it's unfortunate. But I mean, it's a thing on both sides of the table. So
I just, not everybody. And I love your answer, by the way. This is what we aim for. We try to get that informative, you know what I'm saying? Because not everybody, they don't think about things like or how they come off, or even that their capacity is so small or shallow, you know what I'm saying? And until you shine a light on it, and they can think about it in a different perspective, then they remain some kind of way. And hopefully after you shine a light on it, they'll wake up. But it is what it is. Um, as because you do have the platform, right now, and the spotlight, as a professional dancer, a professional model, someone who you know unfairly gets these stereotypes. um what would be the correct way for those who don't know to approach you? I mean, you're a professional. I mean, obviously, like any other professional, you would like to be respected. What are some of the ways that they don't give off those kind of vibes, or don't readily run you away and things like that? Because some people, I don't know, I try to treat everybody like people. Like that's the kind of what works for me, is just to treat everybody like people. You know what I'm saying? And think about how you make them feel when you talk to them and things like that. And I try to apply that to every person. But for those who might not be aware, what are some tips or tricks that you might be able to give some people to kind of not burn their bridge before they even get started?
oh man, that's actually probably the toughest question so far. Because you really you you couldn't imagine like a lot of the things that we get. And I want to say we because I I I personally think I kind of try to handle myself a little and I don't, again, I'm not trying to compare myself or, better or worse than anybody, but I'm not very out there with the social media or, really like one-on-one talking with fans and so on and so forth. So I don't get a lot of the things that a lot of the other girls get. Um, but I mean, it's a gamut of weirdos. I mean, even normal people, I mean, even normal people in normal settings, just because, here's a pretty girl or here's some tits in their face, they like say some super stupid stuff.
Right.
Um, so, again, there's part of me that I try not to hold that too far against them, depending on the circumstances. Is this a person that's used to being in this situation or dealing with certain types of people, or, I mean, are they just a dick? Are they just a pervert? Are they just a you know or is this like a super professional person? So I mean, in the aspect of doing business, I prefer that people stay professional. I'm in the adult industry to this degree, so like, there's certain things I'm going to be more comfortable being around or talking about, or might other people would consider less professional. But I also, like I say, just based on reputation, and because, again, we take this seriously at this point, like, you got to still maintain that professionalism, and a lot of times, we become friends and things get personal, and sometimes, again, feelings get mixed up. And so, like, I mean, even like I go to the gym, I am quiet as shit. Like, nobody in there knows my name, they don't know who I am, they don't know like how to take me, because what'll happen is if I get to talking to people and being friendly, people are going to think that I'm friendly, and then they're going to
Right.
be like, "Oh, I can go talk to her. Oh, I can go hit on her. Oh, I can go say something stupid to her. Oh, I can go take up 20 minutes of her time,
Right.
while she's trying to, you know, bust it out on the treadmill. Like, leave me alone, man." Like, you
Got
know?
you.
So, you just sometimes I have to change how I do things, just because I know how it affects, or how, things, doors get open, and then, um so I don't know. I mean, don't be weird. Like, just don't be weird. Like, I hate
Love
that.
that.
I have so many people be so weird. They'll just like going so good, and then you just said some really just weird. Why would you say that? Why would you say that? I'm gonna go over here now.
Right, right, right. And at the end of the day, especially for guys, you know what I'm saying? You know, how can I say this the best way, the no offense way? Um, Sometimes guys, like, we be doing a little bit too much. I'm just gonna say the shit. Like, sometimes you be doing a little bit too much. Just like you said, just bring it to the table. You know what I'm saying? Just a professional um setting, such as yourself. You're a model, right? If a photographer wanted to work with you, you know and I get, everybody has their quirks. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has their quirks that, that make them who they are. I get that. So when we say don't be weird, I get that it's subjective, because weird is, you know what I'm saying,
Well,
weird is
so
different
okay,
to
so
every
like, for
person.
instance, the photographers. So I had a
Okay.
post a few weeks ago, and I had a photographer that hit me up and
Mhm.
wanted, to work with me. So, I gave him the phone number. I have a, business phone number as well. So, I gave him my phone number, and you know, we made the connection. Hey, this is Olivia. Hey, this is so and so. Like, okay, got you locked in, so on and so forth. He's gonna turn around and be like, "How did you sleep?"
Yeah, that's a little weird. That ain't got
That's
shit to do with the
weird
business
shit.
relationship. Yeah.
But why would you say that to me? And I'm like, nothing else for me to say to you. There's
Right.
nothing else for me to say to you. Terrible way to start the conversation.
Right. Yeah. No. Yeah. That was as soon as, yeah. That's like, you fucked up, right? like
Just
you.
hi, good morning, nice to meet you. Like, would have been fine.
Hey, man. And again, we hope that these be learning experiences for those who watching. I got about two more, and I promise I'm done. Two more.
No, you're
Um,
good. I'm having a good time.
Great, great, awesome, awesome, cool, cool. I'm trying not to be weird now, so give me a look. All right, so
You're doing good
uh
so far.
so as far as models who hope to get to your status, and your notoriety, and your level of professionalism and things like that, what are some red flags that you may have learned along the way? Like, hey, this may not be what appears to be what it is, because models get asked all the time, hey, we want to come model, you know what I'm saying? But there's a difference in knowing what's going to actually benefit you professionally, and what's some weirdo with a camera. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
How do you make those distinctions?
So first off, let me plug my Facebook Travel Dancers group. It is a private group, so you'll need to DM me to get added. Um, but that is one of the reasons why I started that group, amongst others, which I can talk about momentarily if you'd like. Um, but yes, I started travel dancing when I was young. Again, Michigan isn't like a huge money making place. Chicago's close. I really enjoy that aspect. Again, I've always, regardless of the dancer status, or like I said, getting naked in public, like, I'm a very modest person. I don't I don't put myself out there like that. But I'm not to say that I haven't made some dumb decisions and, gone places or hung out with people or, that I shouldn't have. But really, like, there's rules and regulations to this industry, whether it's modeling or dancing or shit nowadays, just even being a woman. Like, there's rules and regulations, and have a rule book, like know what your rules are, know what your standards are, know what's a good idea, what's not a good idea. um kind of learn how to like fish those things out of people if you're not really sure. Definitely learn how to do your research. Again, smartphone, social media, background checks, reverse number lookups, put it out there, make a post. Does anybody know this person? you know um there's so many things you can do to keep yourself safe. The best thing you can do is always be able to protect yourself, whether that's having a friend with you, having some kind of weapon with you. Like, a lot of girls carry knives or carry like those little stabby things, a mace. um um know the area, Google it. You Google Maps, you can see a picture of, the place that you're going. If the shit looks sketchy, don't do it.
Don't do it.
I've never really been big on like going to photographers' houses. I'm very big on vetting people. So, um, if you meet somebody through recommendations, that kind of thing, join groups again on Facebook, on social media, where you can ask these kind of questions. Big in my travel group, obviously, are safety tips. If you have the chance to take karate, take taekwondo, take jujitsu, like take kickboxing, like, take some classes and be able to at least be able to in some way fend for yourself if, other options aren't available to you. Um, but yeah, I mean, just you got to do your research. And whether that's being in groups where you can ask these questions and become part of kind of a network, um, or keeping it local, trying to stick with people that or that know people that and like so on and so forth. Um, but yeah, I mean, definitely anytime that you don't feel comfortable, or, if they say weird things to you, like I said, if he asks you how you slept last night, like, I wouldn't go shoot with him. If he's gonna ask you like what's your favorite flowers and your favorite food, and things that make you feel like somebody's just trying to, get to
Get
know
too
you or
personal.
make you feel comfortable, or, if again they're getting too personal and they're not keeping things professional, and go back, look at their work, look, see where they've been published. Is it even worth you shooting with them? Because um a lot of things too is girls, and especially with the social media and the stuff, it's a catch 22, because we now have a platform where you don't have to be Britney Spears, you don't have to be Mariah Carey, you don't have to be Katy Perry to be famous and be out there and have your stuff profitable or successful or make you money. Um, but at the same time, um, a lot of reputable places, whether it's modeling agencies or magazines, publications, or whatever else, may not take you seriously when you have all kinds of content out here that everybody can already see. Like, why are they going to come here and pay for this? Or why are we going to want you to be part of ours when, you done already did all this over here? So I've always also been very protective of my image. Understand that when you shoot with a photographer, um, in most states, in most instances, the photographer has the rights to those pictures. He can take pictures of you while you're not paying attention, while you're fixing your outfit, and those are all considered part of that situation. And so he can do whatever he wants with those. If you shot nude with him because you wanted to put it on your OnlyFans and he has access to that content, he can go put it on his stuff and he can be getting paid for it. Or he can be putting you out there in a way that you don't want to be put out there. So, be be mindful of your own image and what your goals are, and don't necessarily just shoot with people even because they were recommended to you, or even because they're good at this or good at that. Like, still always make sure you're protected. In a lot of instances, I have my own model release, and my model release says that I have rights to my own photos, and you will have rights to the photos that we agree upon, whether that's for publication or for this or for that. um and that's especially right when somebody has just come to me and said, hey, can we shoot, blah blah blah. Like, have your standards, and also know that, this is a job. Like, don't be afraid to say, this is my price, and these are my stipulations, and if you don't like it, then I can't help you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. My last question before we get to your social tags are you just recently shot with Manny Aquendo for the cover of the No Offense magazine. How would you describe your experience? How would you describe your experience?
Manny was a lot of fun. We communicated well. We had a very clear idea of what we were trying to accomplish. You know, time wise, professional wise, everything was great. He was prepared. Um, we had a good time. It was our first time shooting. So, I mean, I will say, the more you know somebody, obviously the more comfortable you are able to get with them. Um, and our shoot was, I don't want to say it was like a little last minute, but we kind of were working on kind of opposite time schedules, and we kind of had to make something work in the time that we had to make it work. So I definitely look forward to shooting with him again. I think his eye is amazing. He definitely has an eye for the frame. He has an eye for the pose. His edits are like impeccable.
Yes,
So I
ma'am.
definitely am glad that we got that opportunity, and I'm very interested to see where it will go from there. Especially, like I said, we're close in location, so we should be able to make magic regularly.
Well, that definitely is music to my ears. This interview has been awesome. Manny, you're my boy, man. You know what I'm saying? For real.
Woohoo.
Miss Olivia Pearl, I can't thank you enough for definitely for gracing our cover and for allowing our viewers to get to know you through this interview, as well as our readers to get to know you through your article in our magazine, as well as get to allow our viewers to see, the beautiful shots that you and Manny did to take in that short minute session. And when y'all see it, you like, this was last minute. If they had time, boy, I'm telling you,
Right.
y'all got a treat. Y'all in for a treat. If you can, Miss Pearl, please go ahead and let them know where they can follow you, how they can contact you. And what I do is when this is edited, I'm gonna actually have it come up here so that they can visually see it as well.
All right, wonderful. Please, please, please blow me the fuck up on Instagram. Big O Pearl. Big O Pearl. Can't forget it. The boutique is House O Pearl and houseofpearlboutique.com if you think you want to get some sexy little things. Olivia Pearl on Facebook. Facebook's just about full, so I really would appreciate if everybody went and blew me up on Insta, because like that's how you find me.
All right. Well,
Bookings. Oh yeah, you can book me at let's see, so I don't get it wrong because I'm probably going to, but I think it's opearlbooking at gmail.com.
all
So
right.
yes, bookings for hostings. If you got a club and you would love for me to be your feature entertainment, I would love for that. I'm definitely booking for late summer at this point. For any clubs that are looking for me to bring my sexy little circus freak show and so on and so forth. Hosting, podcast interviews, publication. Holla.
Thank you again, Miss Olivia Pearl, guys. Y'all make sure y'all follow. Again, it'll be on display. Miss Pearl, I appreciate you and your time. Thank you.
Yes, appreciate you, babe. Love you guys.